So the 300 Blackout is probably one of my, I want to say, favorite rifle rounds. I'm not a huge rifle hunter, shooter, long range shooter. I don't have any bolt guns, any long range rifles besides 5.56, 300 Blackout. I do have a 308 AR-10, but it's an arrow, and I'm not a huge fan of it. Yeah, more on that. So as far as rifle cartridges, at the moment, I have the most fun shooting this gun and the most fun, I would say, putting it in different situations. It's extremely versatile, and there's a lot you can do with it, which I kind of wanted to go over, or this overview. I'm calling it an overview of the BCM 9-inch upper, because I don't really have that many rounds through it. It's expensive to shoot 300 Blackout. I don't really think it has a whole purpose as far as training. If I'm going to do training, shorter targets, USPSA style, I have some match footage. I'm going to use 5.56. It's way cheaper. Relatively, this is the same recoil. It has all the same functions, besides the weight, which to a 12.5 BCM that I also have, it's very comparable. And I don't really feel the need to shoot this gun crazy amount for training. But I do love to have it to show people what Subsonic 300 Blackout can do. Most people, you go to a local range, they either haven't seen an SBR, they haven't seen a suppressor, and they certainly most likely haven't seen 300 Blackout Subsonic. And if you've heard it in person, it's pretty awesome. So I do like to give people that experience when I can. But as far as the gun, why do I have it? The main reason is I wanted it, and I really like the short 9-inch size of it. And right now it's basically just my bedside gun. So home defense, I think it's a great, ideal home defense gun. Realistically, I could use a 12.5-inch AR that I have also, but with this Surefire 300 SPS or SOCOM SPS, it does add another 8 inches, but it's still under 16 inches, and so it's shorter than a 16-inch rifle with an A2 birdcage flash hider. And I just think that's awesome. So this is my only, I guess I'll just start at the front. Well, not the butt. I do love this suppressor. It's the SOCOM 300 SPS. I bought it for this gun to just basically stay on this gun, but it's the only suppressor I have, and I do run it on my 5.56, and it's great. It's actually very quiet. When I shot it for the first time, I was very impressed. Everybody's like, oh, it's kind of sad when you shoot 5.56 suppressed for the first time because it's not really that quiet. Sure, it wasn't subsonic level quiet, but it was pretty awesome in my opinion, and I definitely use it on 5.56. It's great. But for 300 Blackout like this is, as far as main setup, it's awesome. And I don't really have any complaints with it except for possibly this mount. This is a 3-prong flash hider. I don't know. It works. But I like it. Right now it seems though that this can kind of get stuck to where it doesn't just drop on there. I got to kind of click it on, which isn't really, it doesn't happen on the 5.56 gun. It's over here, which is why I keep pointing to it. I'll get better at these videos, but I just kind of wanted to put this out. So it does kind of click on there, and it's kind of hard to come off. I don't know if it's just carbon, but it wasn't like that originally. So it may just be dirty, but it hasn't been carbon locked yet. But I also haven't put a ton of rounds through it. So if you're interested in this suppressor, totally recommend it. It's awesome. But I also recommend getting dedicated suppressors. I'm not going to use this suppressor on a 5.56 if I didn't have this. I wanted to start with a dedicated can that, yeah, I can use both of them, but really it's on this, and the 5.56 can will come next. Truly believe in the dedicated cans for dedicated guns. All right, you shouldn't really be switching around too much. All right, light. It's a simple stream light. It's the old version. They have a new one now. Seems a lot better, relatively the same price. Would I buy this again? No, I probably wouldn't. I would just go buy a Surefire. Their turbos are insane. Yes, they're triple the price, but their warranty is good. The lights are solid. If this is all you can afford, absolutely I would buy it. If you can, the saying is like the Streamlight you can afford is better than the Surefire you can't, which is true. So having a light is better than having no light. But if you can spare it and it's not really a rifle you're using a whole bunch, save that $100. Go and buy a Surefire, even if you're only using the tail cap. I only use the tail cap, and it works great. It's on an air socket mount, keeps it low profile, nothing crazy. But yeah, that's the light. Iron sights, whatever. As far as the upper itself, it's been great, but it's only been 300 rounds-ish. Maybe, I don't even think it's been that. So I really can't say a whole lot about it. But as far as use, it works great. I did have one primer pop on AAC ammo. It wasn't my ammo. The guy at the range also had his ammo. It's expensive. He wants to shoot it. Cool. Here you go. He was using his ammo as AAC supersonic, whatever the grain, and it jammed this thing up completely. And sure enough, there's a pop primer in there. I'm not a huge gun tech. Is that the gun's fault? I really don't think so. I think it was an ammo issue because I do have, it is clear. Yes, I keep the mag loaded. You guys aren't in here. All right. I do have a BCM bolt, and it's a factory BCM bolt. I bought it with the rifle or with the upper, so I don't think that's the issue. Or it was the gun issue, and there was a pop primer in there, and it did get stuck. I could not fix it at the range. I had to go home, completely disassemble it for the most part, as far as the lower, to be able to get that upper out. And sure enough, pop primer. Okay. Optics. I have had this Vortex Spark AR is the first optic I ever bought for about 4 years now. It's kind of how long I've been in the game, about 4 years, 2018, 2019, maybe 5 years. And it is, I don't want to say terrible because it's lasted me this whole time. It still turns on, and I wouldn't say it holds zero, but as far as if I were to remove it and put it back on, but as far as I go back out to the range, yeah, it's still zeroed, shuffling around. Maybe it falls over, it's fine. It does have an option to be a lower 1/3 or an absolute co-witness, which is nice. But, so again, this is the Spark AR. I don't like it. The refresh rate is terrible. So I do have an Aimpoint T2. I bought an Aimpoint T2. It's on kind of my main gun, I call it. And I do need to update this because for the refresh rate. So when you're transitioning, you literally just get a flicker and a stutter. It looks like a dashed line going across. It's not smooth at all, and it's kind of distracting. The glass is terrible. With the T2, I feel like I haven't shot any more than, I think, 400 with the T2, but the glass is so clear. As far as my eyes naturally can see, it's no issue. This one is very dark. It's very blue. And it's just smudgy looking, and no matter how much you clean it up, it's a $200 optic. It's not going to be great. The battery life is pretty good, but it comes at a caveat because it has auto shut off. And maybe I can mess with the settings, honestly, now that I think about it. I'm talking to you guys here, and I can turn that off, but it does auto off after like 8 hours or something. So, which I really don't like, and I really need to remove this soon because it is my nightstand gun. And so when I pick it up in the middle of the night, that optic isn't on. And it doesn't have auto shake awake or anything. So you got to physically turn it back on, which saves battery, which is nice, but I don't care. That's what I love about my Aimpoint T2 is I leave it on and forget about it. I don't ever turn it off. And I change the batteries every Christmas usually. So I wouldn't recommend buying a low tier red dot. If you're gonna buy an optic, I've bought all the low tier stuff, LPVOs, regular scopes. It's just never worth it. I'm like, damn it, I should have just spent the extra money and waited and got something good. And now that I have a T2, shot a T2, I'll never go back. I mean, EOTech's great too. Grab something that's actually worth your life, because this thing is a piece of crap, to be honest. It's a piece of crap. But it does hold 0, so I guess there's that. Radiant charging handle. It's the slimline one. I didn't want it super wide, which normally I like, but this is a small gun. I want to keep everything as minimal as I can. Sometimes I do break it down into a backpack. Works pretty good. I don't want to keep this video going on too much longer. I feel like I've already been talking, because really it's just my setup. And I don't really have a lot as far as reliability, but I have a lot of trust in BCM, and it groups great. It shoots both subs and supers just fine. I don't have a heavy buffer. It's just a mil-spec buffer and mil-spec tube, and a mil-spec spring, and it still functions both, but it is overgassed for sure. So I do need to get new buffers for that, or I'd say a heavy buffer system. I'd like the BCM A2 or A5, whatever style they have, which I'll probably be swapping that out here eventually. LaRue MBT trigger, great trigger for only, I think they're 115 now, which I think I bought mine at 99, but either way, it's awesome. And I mean, 2-stage, and the brake is great. I do agree with people who say the LaRue is 90% of what a Geisley is. I have a Geisley SSAE on my 12.5 inch, and it is better. I'm not a huge fan of this flat trigger. I like the regular bowed trigger that LaRue has, and it does feel better. This trigger is great. If this is all you can afford, fine, but it's getting up to the price now where you can find used Geisleys, not used, but on sale Geisley SSAEs for just a little bit more than this, and honestly, it's worth it. Like $150 Geisley versus $115 for this, $150 Geisley all day. Spend the extra money. It'll last you, and it's solid. Arrow lower, nothing fancy, but it works. And yeah, that is really all I have. I want to get some more footage shooting this, but I kind of want to just get this video started and get some practice talking on camera. Obviously, I'm not awesome. I'm doing a one take here, and I won't ramble on anymore. All right, if you guys have any questions, and if you're still here, go ahead and leave a comment. I'm not going to ask any more than that. Just open discussion down below. All right, thanks.